I'm going to introduce Adam Ottavino. You know him maybe as a 40-year-old reliever. You may know his funky delivery and think, wow, how does he do that? How is he effective? You may not have heard of him. But what you will have heard of is when players go on podcasts. That's a popular thing. Podcasts where players host them, players are on them, and the media is monitoring podcasts like this all the time for any sort of nuggets that a player will say that they won't say to the beat reporters, they won't say on their own social media, because good podcast hosts, in theory, are able to get people to say things they otherwise wouldn't say. Boy, Adam Ottavino did it. So he goes on this podcast and he starts talking. He talks about Nimmo a little bit, by the way, but not as important to me. But he did say that Nimmo, in theory, was not happy in general, that he was confrontational, that he was sensitive. Just a few things that would maybe give an amateur the thought, oh, the Mets wanted to get rid of that problem, but I'm not buying it. What I am buying, and what is a bigger concern if I am the president of the Mets or I am Steve Cohn, is that Ottavino aired out a bunch of Mets drama as it related to their manager, Carlos Mendoza, and the entire coaching staff. It's really tough when you're running a team and a lot of stuff is in-house. There's a lot of, you have meetings all the time. You're trying to get better. You're trying to have better systems in place. We're all trying to avoid injury, self-inflicted injury. Those are the kinds where your teammates are fighting with each other. Those are the kinds when players get hurt off the field by carrying luggage upstairs or cutting their finger on a barbecue. Myriad ways. I call those self-inflicted injuries. A hamstring pull running the bases, getting hit in the hamate and breaking your hand and being out 6 weeks, being hit in the face. Those are, your elbow, your shoulder. I would always categorize those as non-self-inflicted injuries. What Adam Ottavino did is he clouded those concepts. And on this podcast, he was blaming the pitching injuries that the Mets have suffered. He's blaming it on the way Carlos Mendoza uses his bullpen. And he went off in a way that you just don't see. A couple of things that Adam neglected to talk about. And again, my cynicism, only because of where we are in the baseball calendar, is always heightened. And I don't mean close to an exchange date where arbitration eligible players know what they're going to make or what they're going to ask for. I don't mean that we're close to the winter meetings. I don't mean that we're close to Christmas or that we're close to opening day, March 25th, with the new media deals. No, I'm talking about where we are in labor. That is where that is the prism through which I look at a lot of the things that players are saying right now. My first go-to is, did Tony Clark or Bruce Mayer choose this player to say these things about this team or about the industry? Because I promise you, Max Scherzer doesn't wake up one morning and decide he's going to talk about stuff. Scott Boras calls him and says, today's the morning you're going to talk about stuff. When Adam Ottavino gets on a podcast and goes after Carlos Mendoza like this, but the underpinning of it is that the use of the players is causing injuries. Does that not remind you of something the Major League Baseball, the other side in collective bargaining, something they're studying tremendously? Injuries, how injuries happen. And Major League Baseball is trying to position it as a contract length thing. Hey, pitchers are getting injured. We're studying it. We don't know why, other than everyone's chasing velocity. Therefore, owners do not sign players, specifically pitchers, to long-term deals. Meanwhile, players want to get it out there. Hey, if you take care of us, I believe long-term deals are perfect. You don't have to worry. When the Mets or any other team is having significant pitching injuries that everyone is so concerned about, well, duh, it's that they're being mistakenly used, that the assets are being sacrificed. So, yeah, my cynical antenna goes up when Ottavino does it because I could have evaluated this story and gone straight anti Steve Cohn and anti Carlos Mendoza. I could have said that, hey, this is unique. Mendoza should be fired. The Mets and their whole pitching staff, which is obviously undergoing changes. The reason is because of the injuries, and Ottavino was just making it more clear. I don't want to make it that easy for you all, for you to read this. And for Ottavino to say, I think that he has no idea what he's doing when it comes to bullpen guys and how to keep them healthy or even how to care about them at all. I remind you, Aaron Boone notwithstanding, Brian Cashman notwithstanding in his continued desire to make it as though he has no say over what's going on the field. I continue to remind you that bullpen usage is not done by Carlos Mendoza in a vacuum. Bullpen usage is gone over with the front office every single day. As a matter of fact, I've told you about the piece of paper I have before every game, the piece of paper that goes through every bullpen arm, when they last pitched, how many pitches they threw during their appearance, whether or not they're available for today's game, and then where they're going to be used in today's game. Every single day. And that was with an old school manager. Believe me, if you're looking to blame somebody for the injuries on the Mets, I would look a different direction than Carlos Mendoza. And frankly, I would have no problem at all trying to assign blame because we all like doing that. It's helpful. It makes us feel better when we're a fan of a team and they don't do well. Oh, you're to blame. You're the coach.